Now our next session, it is excellence in higher education in COVID era and the way forward. It is going to be delivered by Vice-Chancellor of Jaipur University, Professor Dr. Abhay Kumar. I welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, my university is Pratap University.
Yeah, Pratap University.
It is in Jaipur, Rajasthan. And my sincere thanks to FELA, Somji, Dr. Santosh, and all the other distinguished Vice-Chancellors and academicians present here today for giving us the opportunity. In fact, it is a wonderful platform where we have all come together, and of course, the crux of the discussions would facilitate in taking education further. So I'm sure of that. Now, when we talk about excellence, I just remember a quote by a former President Abdul Kalam ji, that excellence happens not by accident, it is a process. Now, what do we mean exactly by that? In the context of education or higher education, when we simply talk about excellence, then we have to take various parameters in question, especially in the COVID era. We have all talked about how we had to suddenly go online, then what are the problems faced by us. Well, problem is a part of life, and we have to search excellence from within these problems throughout life, whatever sort of problems come to us. As teachers, as mentors rather, I think referring to the age-old Guru Shishya Parampara, which somebody had talked about earlier, I think our role as teachers becomes so important in this particular era that we have to come up to the challenges, and we have done so. I fully agree with Professor Rai, because in many such conferences I have said that apart from the security forces, the medical corps and the health workers, I think the faculty members have been the most important corona warriors, though nobody had termed them as such. So the excellence that they have exhibited during this crisis is unparalleled. Now, Dr. Patel had said that necessity is the mother of invention. Well, I would term it in another way, necessity is the mother of adaptation as well. When it becomes necessary, we as human beings tend to adapt to the situation. And we have done that. The entire globe has shrunk during the last 1.5 to 2 years' time. We have come together on virtual platforms, which we would never have dreamt of coming together. Earlier, 1 out of 5 scientific research papers were co-authored internationally. Now the figure has suddenly jumped up. How? Because the sharing of knowledge has become more profound during these 1.5 to 2 years since March 2020. We have to find the positive aspects from the pandemic. If we don't even call it opportunity, then at least those positive aspects on which we can build excellence. Now, the post-COVID era is, of course, actually not yet as ended. It is going to witness profound changes in the education sector. There are, however, no acceptable ready-made solutions to it, technological or otherwise. Now, whatever the responses we collectively arrive at through inclusive dialogue, which I had just mentioned, and decision-making, history is being written with a great speed that we must understand. And we are faced with choices and decisions that will decide the future course of action. Now, when we look at the responses to this crisis in the field of education, we find original and creative ideas coming from all corners of the world. I still remember one particular post which the Honorable Prime Minister had posted on LinkedIn about almost a year and a half back, which was the 5 vowels of a new normal, which I have always spoken about. They are AEIOU, that means adaptability, excellence, inclusivity, opportunity, and universalism. There are 2 or 3 aspects I would like to tell you. One is excellence and effectiveness are different. We all know that. As faculty members and teachers, we have responded excellently in terms of sharing knowledge. But how effective it was in terms of learning by the students, that has not yet been ascertained properly. To take it a bit further, I'll tell you, the Pratap group may be 25 years old, but the Pratap University, where I am the Vice Chancellor, it is almost about 10 years young. We are celebrating the 10th year right this year in 2022. Now, we have also faced many challenges. For example, when we talk about international mobility, we have a pretty good number of international students in the university. And they have all collaborated with us so positively that last year we stuck to the academic calendar and we had the examination as per the academic calendar in spite of the COVID crisis. Now, how were we able to do this? We have almost about 70 first learners in the university. Means their parents have never been to a college or an university. So how would they nurture and groom their students or their children? It was a challenge. Telling them that if we are taking fee from you, what is the input we are giving? That was one challenge we had to face. So in fact, apart from having online classes with the students, even myself as Vice Chancellor and Deans, we interacted online with the parents through the children, in the presence of the children. We explained to them what our faculty members were doing and how they had gone out of the way, even in late evenings when they were not supposed to be online, in trying to cater to the mental wellness and well-being of the students. How they were trying to mentor them and how they were trying to pull them up from a level of almost a level of depression to a level of to motivate them to a certain level. That was happening. The students were not attending classes because they were very demotivated at that point of time. Now, there were certain aspects which people dealt with right now during the deliberations was that the students were not able to get practical inputs. Well, you know, when a situation like this comes, you have to give the best possible. And every institution, whether it was a school or a university or a college, tried to give the best. Even those who didn't have a proper online platform at that point of time, it was built very soon by many others. I would say kudos to all the educationists, whether they were education leaders or management of the institutions or the faculty members, they all came up to expectations. Now, certain things, again, I'll talk is that, for example, when I talk of Pratap University, we say that earlier it was a corporate ladder. For example, when I had done my MBA from the University of Allahabad way back in 1980, at that time we had a particular specialization. I was the industry for almost 16 years. When I left it in the year 2000, I had no more specializations to go through, no more skilling to do at that point of time. Now the things are different. During the corporate life, which any student would go into, it is no more a corporate ladder, it is a corporate maze. Ek bhul bhulaiya hai. The student will have to maneuver through that by upskilling, upgrading, reskilling. Small example, we reached up to our alumni very recently, say about 4 months back, and told them, if you are facing any difficulty right now, don't think that the university is not with you. We are with you throughout your career and life. When they heard this, many of them wrote back to me saying ki I lack this skill and that is why I am not able to climb the ladder further from middle management level. We gave them online certificate courses at our expense. They were our children and they will ever remain our children. Similarly, those students who could not get the basic inputs which we give to our students every year, we have told them, don't worry. We are whatever say job we can get you right now, or whatever you can get your own, take it. And then during the course of the years, which we in the next few years, you will come back to us and we will give you whatever we could not have given at this period of time. We convinced them with this, and we will give you even more as a policy decision from the Vice Chancellor and the management. No, when that particular say trust and confidence steps in, I believe that the student fraternity would be with you in every possible way. Whatever difficulties, teething problems we might be having in the initial phases of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, again, another aspect about excellence. Each institution has got certain strengths. Can we remain as isolated islands of excellence? Why not collaborate? When this thought crept into mind, earlier I was Vice Chancellor of another university in Himachal Pradesh. Right from there, I took it forward to Pratap University also. I talked to some of the institutions, whether they were colleges or universities around, and asked them if we can share our resources to some extent, share knowledge. This would bring excellence to our university and your college also. If we have a very good faculty of pharma, for example, pharmacy, a wonderful professor we have, his videos and his material are being sought after by others. So we would help your students out. So as an initiative, having a background of management, even myself, I took some online classes of other institutions. I took a step forward. Now, in order to build excellence in steps, the higher educational institutions have to come together and collaborate on various aspects. This is my thought process. We should not only look at the government to do things. Because, for example, the National Education Policy 2020, the implementation part is not to be done by the government only. It is to be done by the institutional leaders, the faculty members, the vice chancellors, the deans. We have to implement the National Education Policy in our institutions, bring excellence to it. So we have to come together. It is not only a mentor institute which can be appointed to help another institution in NAC. It is a good, of course, it's a point to ponder on. But if we come together, excellence would automatically come to us. The point is, it becomes a bit difficult. People are reluctant, people are resistant in sharing such resources, but ultimately we will have to. Now, when we're talking about international collaborations, I'll tell you one basic thing. Let's not be suspect of any international university coming to India. Why? Because, they will have to customize their courses as per the Indian requirements. I'm very sure of that. Just like McDonald's and Domino's had to start producing, say, aloo tikki and samosas. So they can't have the elite customer base which they had in their own countries when Indian students went abroad. Only a very few students from the weaker sections of the society went ahead with scholarships. Mostly it was the affluent section of the society. So we have to very clearly understand that efficiency has to be effective also. That means whatever we do, what are the end results? We give learning outcomes to our students. We give what outcomes a course or a program will have in the next 5 years' time. But actually, are we looking forward after 5 years what the student is doing? In order to attain efficiency, for example, I tell my students, don't go in for a job. The first job is important only if it can build a career for you. So think about the career in the long run. Don't think about the first job. Go to a job where learning can be immense. And you can try to upskill and upgrade and relearn and unlearn. And you can have those skills which are needed, the vocational skills which you talk about. That is more important. Maybe during a class session, those skills can be attained in a cross-cultural environment which an university, of course, projects for all students. But then we have to very clearly understand the fact that not all students are equal. So they will learn in their own way. So we as mentors have to choose what is their criteria of learning. For example, when we talk about a startup, when we talk about Make in India, entrepreneurship, of course, we can teach them management, we can teach them finance, we can teach them business plans. But can we change their mindsets? So we have to create a mindset within the faculty as well as the students. The change in the mindset is most important. Right from the British regime, when education was so patterned to produce not to produce thinkers, just to produce followers, because I wouldn't use the term which is usually used by everyone, to produce babus, because that is of course a very unstable form of projecting things. So excellence in itself comes from changes. That means, as one of the vice chancellors from Shimla had said, that somebody else had said that you have to envisage change beforehand. We as leaders have to do that. So what is going to be the new normal after post-COVID? That means when we get attuned to the atmosphere, environment, what do we have to do then? We have to say project it right now. And that is the most important thing. For example, I'll give you the academic bank of credit as a mobility of the student from in and out of one program or from one program to the other. Earlier, it was NAC A grade only institutions which could be registered for that. No, I spoke on many forums that how many institutions are NAC A accredited right now. I'm not talking about either my university or any other university. I'm simply saying give an opportunity to everyone. Because if you want people to grow, you will have to give a common playing field. So when a common playing field is given and then also you don't grow, then there lies the anomaly. That means then lies the problem that you are neither efficient nor effective, nor you are doing the right possible thing. So as teachers, in the end, I would just say, as institutions, let's start thinking beyond our own biological children. Let's think about the environment, the children, over thousands of children around, who as gurus we have to mentor, and we have to make them good citizens and good global citizens as well. Thank you so much.